You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tiina, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Medder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go. Let's discuss about stress and how the stress affects our skin. A lot of people, they think about stress like about something absolutely negative, and especially like about the thing you can avoid. Actually, it is not possible. And the whole story of the scientific theory of the stress and how the stress affects the human body, and particularly the skin, started almost 100 years ago. Father of the stress theory, Hans Selye, lived and practiced in Canada, and he's got the Nobel Prize for his research about the stress. And what I like to think about the stress, that's how Hans Selye once said that stress is the spice of the life. We cannot live in the unspicy life. We cannot eat unspicy food. It will be not delicious. But when it is too much of spices, it is uneatable. And it is exactly the real analogy with the stress. So what is the stress? A lot of people think that the stress is some kind of psychological or emotional reaction. But in fact, everything can be stressful. It's not only about the emotions, not only about the psychology. It can be about the trauma. It can be about the infection. Sleep deficiency can be the stress. And actually for the skin, it's one of the main factors and one of the most important factors. So the stress is non-specific response to any demand by the human body. Whatever happens with you, you react in the same way, and it's called the stress reaction. The reaction is absolutely non-specific. It can be lack of sleep. It can be emotional stress. It can be the trauma. You will react absolutely similarly. And this reaction, called general adaptation syndrome, includes 3 phases of the stress. And a lot of people, they think that stress, it is purely negative. And once again, it is not true. It can be the positive stress. We call it scientifically eustress, from eu, good in Greek. And if you're familiar with our Medder skincare products, probably you noticed that the whole of our anti-acne range called EUSEP and EUSkin, it's exactly the same idea. Eu, it is Greek in good, like euphoria. And so acne, it is a reaction to the stress. And when we treat acne, we are going for some positive stress. We are changing this negative stress, negative infections, and all negative changes of the skin to something positive and cleaning out the skin. So eustress, like EUSkin, it is positive adaptive reaction. It is most often the low-level trigger, and the body is able to react to this positively. But if the stress triggers, it's too important, it's too intense, the body reacts differently, and this high-level demand can cause negative stress, which scientifically we call distress. It's a kind of stress which can lead to permanent damage of the body or can lead to the permanent damage of the skin. Once again, acne. If you don't treat acne, it's become more and more intense, and it can lead to the formation of acne scars, which will be permanent and difficult to treat. So it is very important to manage the stress, to control the stress. We have 3 phases of the stress. First phase called alarm phase. It is very short phase of the stress. It can take a few minutes or a few hours and sometimes a couple of days. But after this, if the stress still affects our body, we switch to the second reaction, which called the phase of resistance. In the resistant phase, our body attempts to adapt and deal with the stressor, potentially becoming resistant to it. And resistant phase can be long. If you are under the stress affection, you can live in resistant phase for days, weeks, sometimes months, and even years. And there are a lot of scientific research about the human body reaction during the wartime, for example. And it was found that in the wartime, a lot of people, they live in this resistant phase, which can be during for years and years, especially among the people who found how to control the stress, how to manage it. And I will speak about it later. So it is not desperate. If you are under the stress, first of all, you can resist. And second, you can help your body to resist to the stress positively. But if the stress is too intense, or if the stress continues too long, or if your body is experiencing some age-related changes, or if the stress is accumulating in the body, it can lead to the third and last phase of the stress, which calls exhaustion. And it speaks for itself. The body is exhausted. It cannot resist anymore. And unfortunately, in the exhaustion phase, we see a lot of illnesses, a lot of the body damage. And speaking about the skin, in the exhaustion phase, we see this scars formation. We see this intense inflammation and accelerated skin aging. So we should understand the stress better to be able to resist it and control it. It's how our human body performs. It's very easy. Everyone experiences this. You start to do something, you do it more and more, you enjoy it, you're excited about it. And at the some moment, you feel fatigue. You are tired. And when you are tired, you need to relax. You need to have time to restore. If you have no time, if you continue to do what you've been doing, it's very probably you will come at some point to the exhaustion and you will not feel well. There are hormones controlling the stress. And we have 3 stress hormones. They are opposite to happiness hormones. What are stress hormones? They are cortisol, adrenaline, or sometimes it's called epinephrine, it is the same thing, and noradrenaline or norepinephrine. All of them, they are equally important for the stress. How it happens when you experience the stress, when you are affected by some triggers, it can be absolutely different things. For example, you damaged your skin, or you contacted with some nasty infectious agent, some nasty bacteria, or you are under some emotional stress, you knew something very stressful. It will be exactly the same thing. Your brain reacts first. In the brain, we have a structure called hypothalamus. And this hypothalamus starts to produce first portion of hormones. These hormones, they are going to our spinal cord. And from the spinal cord, these hormones travels to adrenal glands, to our glands producing epinephrine, norepinephrine. And these glands are related to kidneys. They produce catecholamines hormones. And all these hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, they are traveling to the bloodstream. And from the bloodstream, it affects skin, and in the same time, it affects brain once again, it affects kidney, it affects liver, lungs, literally everything. That's the first very fast reaction. All this long story about hormones, how it's produced in the brain, traveling this and there, it takes minutes from our body. And in this reaction, it's very important how our body reacts. If it reacts properly, we form these reactions which we called alarm reaction, or also historically it's called the fight or flight response. Fight or flight response is known for more than 100 years and described by the scientists, and it's actually acute release of all these hormones and our body reaction to these hormones. What happens? We change our behavior. We became more alert. We have tunnel vision, because when you feel that you are under danger, you see only important things. Our hearing is affected as well. We hear better, but we hear very selectively. And in the same time, you start to breathe faster. Your heart beating becomes faster as well. Your muscles become tensed. And your digestion is slowered. You cannot eat properly when you are in the acute phase of the stress. So it is absolutely normal. When your body adapts, it's no point to try to feed your body. And other reaction, for example, your bladder will also stop. Do not cause you any troubles if you need fight or flight, and so on. What happens with the skin? Actually, skin at this point looks quite well, because the first thing we see, it's a very vivid, very bright skin color, because you have a lot of oxygen coming to the skin. And another thing to see in this moment of the fight or flight reaction, the pores are visually reducing, and even inflammation can be reduced quite significantly. So paradoxically, you are under the danger, you are under the stress, but your skin looks better. But as you remember, you cannot do it forever. So this fight or flight reaction is very short. It can be a few minutes, it can be a few hours. At maximum, it can be a couple of days. After you switch to the slower reaction, to the resistant phase. And in the resistance phase, there are other structures helping you to adapt to the stress. And we call it hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal axis. Why? Hypothalamus, it is a special structure in the brain. Pituitary gland is also the structure in the brain. And fun fact, there are scientific theory that pituitary gland can be very important for active longevity and prolonged human life. So it is an interesting gland which is involved in the stress. So somehow stress and active longevity can be related. And it is a well-known fact. And people who found how to control the stress, they can live longer and they look better. They have less of wrinkles. They have better skin as well. And adrenal axis, they are axis of adrenal glands. What happens when we switch to this resistance phase? There are different hormones. That's corticotropin releasing hormone, or CRH, which is released from this longevity pituitary glands, and it stimulates the secretion of glucocorticoid hormones, like cortisol, again, into the blood. And when this axis is activated, we enter this resistant phase and everything is changing. Our body tries to adapt for the marathon, not for the sprint, which was in the fight or flight reaction. So continuing stress asked for us maintain functionality, but on the better, higher level. So stress hormones will be reduced. They will be still higher than when you are relaxed, when you are not under the stress. But this level, you cannot compare it with the first fight or flight reaction. The alertness will be increased and cognitivity will be increased. So you literally will be smarter under the stress. And it would be great if a human being will be able to use it consciously. Our body remains alert, our body remains focused, and our body is trying to detect and manage any other stress. So, as you probably guess, our skin still looks good. It's not very much inflamed. The pores will be still reduced because pores are also under the influence of the hormonal waves, of the hormonal changes. But if it is too long, we can experience different unpleasant symptoms like headache, fatigue, some difficulty with the concentration, irritability starts first, and our skin becomes sensitive. So in the resistant phase, it still looks quite good, but it can be itchy, it can be uncomfortable, like the whole body, because it's trying to adapt. And obviously, the prolonged stress affects all other systems of our body, including endocrine system, immune system, nervous system, and digestive system. And finally, when you have just a few % of energy still functioning in your body, and you cannot resist to the stress anymore, you enter the exhaustion phase. It's the last phase of the stress, which can be really dangerous when you experience the exhaustion of all the systems. Speaking about the skin, exhaustion phase, it is a phase when we see the accelerated skin aging, the sudden appearance of wrinkles, loss of elasticity, sudden appearance of the hyperpigmentation, some pigmentation spots, acne progression, and manifestation of skin diseases. It's very typical for the exhaustion phase of the stress, and actually the skin reacts first when you see some manifestation of the psoriasis or eczema or some other dermatosis. It tells us it's still time to stop. You need to stop, you need to relax, and you need to get the proper treatment. You need to get some kind of rehabilitation of your body for the stress, because skin will suffer in the first place, but unfortunately all other organs and systems will follow if we don't stop it. Why the skin reacts so vivid to the stress? Why it reacts first? Why we see the skin changes immediately when we are under the stress affection? As you remember, the first reaction to the stress is produced by the brain. And all the small structures in our brain producing hormones, they affect the skin immediately because skin and nervous systems, they're closely related. As I love to tell, repeating, quoting Professor Laurent Misery, who is the biggest authority in the skin sensitivity science, he is telling them skin and nervous systems, they are twins, missing each other every minute since birth. Because embryologically, skin and nervous system, it is the same organ. It's splitting up only after first 3 weeks of the embryo development. Before that, it was the same organ called ectoderm. And in the embryo development on the 4th week, the skin is becoming the skin, and the nervous system is just beautifully growing into the embryo body, growing some trees, contacting each cells of the body of the embryo, and it will contact each cells of our body until the very moment of our death. But skin and the nervous system, they use the same biochemical language. Cells of the skin, they play for both teams, skin and nervous systems. So exactly at the same moment when your brain starts to produce the stress hormones, your skin starts to react to the stress hormones. So it will be a real life event for your skin. Also, we call the skin not only the neurosystem, but also the neuroimmune endocrine organ, because skin is related to the nervous system, but also it is related to the immune system, and we have a lot of immune cells in our skin, and it's related to endocrine system. Our skin reacts to each hormones produced by the body, but the skin can release and can produce its own hormones. And adrenaline, cortisol, noradrenaline, they interact with every cells of our skin. And as you understood, under the stress, all the stress hormones, they help our body to adapt, and our body is able to resist. So in the first and second phase of the stress, our skin performs better. And even in the phase of resistance of the stress, some of chronic conditions like acne can be better because the inflammation can be reduced because our immune system is alerted and it works on the higher level. But in other skin conditions like pigmentation, for example, or skin barrier functioning can be damaged earlier. Why pigmentation can progress in the early phase of the stress? Because melanocytes, pigment cells of our skin, they are nervous cells in the same time. So they react to each stress hormones directly. And stress hormones, they are pigment stimulating. Each of stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, they are stimulating pigment cells, produce more of pigment, produce more of melanin. Why they do it? Because melanin, it is a protective pigment. When you are under the stress, our body reacts like it should be protected in every possible way. And ultraviolet, it is a stress trigger for the skin. So our body produces more of melanin to protect from the ultraviolet, but in the same time, melanin protects us from the free radicals. So it is adaptive pigment. So hello, the hyperpigmentation, unfortunately. Another skin concerns which can progress during the stress, it is a loss of skin elasticity because it's very energy spending process. The skin elasticity is based on the structure of skin fibers, collagen, elastin, and other small skin proteins helping to create this deep skin structure. We spend a lot of energy in our skin synthesizing and producing this collagen and elastin. And when you are in the resistant phase, our body start to ration this energy. And so it produces a little bit less of fiber. So longer you are in the resistant phase of the skin, higher the risk of the loss of skin elasticity and so wrinkles formation. Also, it doesn't help with the whole skin appearance because in the first phase of the stress, we have this beautiful bright skin color. But the skin appearance depends very much on the skin optic. Literally, it is a ratio between the absorption of the light and reflection of the light. If your skin reflects more light than absorbs it, it looks beautiful. You have this natural glow. If you absorb more light or absorb it less evenly, you don't have the glow and your skin can look dull or fatigued. And it what happens during the stress time because our skin loses the ability to hold the water efficiently and properly, and skin barrier function is also damaged by the stress hormones. So skin can look uneven, the skin color is changing not only because of the pigmentation, but also because of the capillary reaction. So you can experience some redness, irritation, pigmentation, and all of these things doesn't help to get this glass skin effect. Glass skin, it is an appearance of the well-relaxed, healthy skin, full of energy and performing beautifully in every possible way. So stress is very much related to the skin aging. In many ways, biochemically, stress affects the skin by the oxidation of lipids in the skin barrier, oxidation of proteins deeply in the skin, so our collagen and elastin fibers will be damaged. Hyaluronic acid, forming the matrix of the skin in the deep, is oxidated as well. Also, skin triggers the slow, low-level inflammation of the skin, which we call now inflammaging, so aging related to the inflammation. And also it does more of complicated phenomena, which scientifically called the shortening of telomeres, the structures involved in the longevity of skin cells. It's involved in the epigenetic changes of the skin, the imbalance of hormones, and the dysfunction of mitochondria. And mitochondria, they are small structures which we have in every cell of our body and in our skin. And mitochondria produces the energy for our body and for our skin. So if your mitochondria, they are not functional enough, if they are affected by the stress, we have less of energy. And less of energy, it's lack of synthesis of collagen, elastin, hyaluronic acid, and disbalance of all processes of the skin. So now we understand the stress deeper than we understood it before. And we understand that one of the key events of the stress affecting the skin, it is an inflammation, oxidation, and the lack of energy. And all of this process forms a specific phenotype of the stress-affected cells in our skin. And when our body experiencing the age-related changes in the same time, it can lead to the phenomenon which we call senescence of the skin. So the real skin aging, when our skin cells cannot produce what we need from them and start to destroy our skin structures, leading to the loss of the skin elasticity. And when you are under the stress, it can happen before than you biologically programmed to age. So it's very important to know how to fight the stress and how to control the stress efficiently. Also, that's very interesting how stress hormones influence the skin microbiome. Because yes, the skin microbiome is influenced by the hormone too, and it is influenced by the stress as well. First thing to know is that our skin became more acidic under the stress, especially in the resistance phase. Why? Because, for some reason, lactic acid producing bacteria, such as lactobacillus, lactococcus, they are growing more intensely under the stress. Largely, we love them. They are good, they are nice bacteria, they are helping a lot to our skin, and they help this acidic protective mantle of our skin. But when they are overgrowing, our skin becomes too acidic and it becomes too sensitive. And acidic reaction of the skin can make our skin barrier function less efficient. When you are living in the resistant phase longer than a few weeks, we can observe the growth of inflammation-causing bacteria, including Cucibacterium acnes. So they are overgrowing, and it can lead to the progress of the acne or manifestation of rosacea, for example. It can lead to the formation of the biofilm. So in the early stage of the stress, you can look better. Acne or inflammatory skin condition can be better for some short period of the time, but after it can worsen. And when it's worsening, it leads to the chronic form of all the skin concerns, which are difficult to treat because they are stubborn because of biofilms. So it is very important for someone suffering from the acne, suffering from rosacea, or experiencing the accelerated skin aging to find how to control the stress. Because treat the stress-related skin condition when you are still under the stress can be very difficult. So we should find it, what we call resistance and resilience. What are resistance and resilience phenomena? They are related to our body's amazing ability to adapt better and to form this resistance fighting phase, which will be positive for our body. And when you find this magic place, when you become resistant, when you become resilient, it activates our parasympathetic nervous system. And it restores the homeostasis, the balance of our body, but on the whole new level. So we call it sometimes stress-related body growth. It's positive reaction. And it can be emotional reaction. In the psychotherapy, it's well known as well. But it can be reaction for our body. And paradoxically, our skin can find this better condition and can even slow down the skin aging if we find how to be resilient. There are two keys to the resistance and resilience for the skin and for our body in total. First of our key is parasympathetic nervous system. I hope you remember I've been speaking about sympathetic nervous system previously as the forming of the stress axis starting in the sympathetic system. Now I'm speaking about the parasympathetic system. It's another part of the nervous system balancing the sympathetic system. And if the first phase of the skin, called alarm reaction, fight or flight, the formation of resistant phase goes differently, rest and digest. So it's spa retreat for our body and spa retreat for our skin. When our parasympathetic system is activated, our heart rate is lowered, our blood pressure is lowered, it aids digestion, it aids restoration of muscles, it's slow breathing rate, and it makes us stronger. And for the skin, what does it mean? For the skin, it means that our skin starts to restore the barrier function, starts to produce new healthy lipids, starts to produce new healthy proteins, new collagen, and new elastin. And that's what we need. Our skin be protected and our skin to find again its strengthness and tightness and elasticity. And activation of the parasympathetic system, it's really good for the mental health, and it's really the key to the stress management. So how to activate it? Before you start to activate it, you should understand what is the most important part of the parasympathetic system. And probably you heard about it already because it is a vagus nerve or nervus vagus in our body. And recently, I've seen a lot of different press about activation of the nervus vagus. So it's a trendy topic. And it is really good for skincare. It's really good for the skin management during the stress. And as now in this modern world, we are all living under the stress influence, you should know how to activate your vagus nerve. So first thing to do is breathing deeply. So all kind of breathing exercise which you do in the yoga practice or which you can do absolutely by yourself at your home, they are really good. So for activation of the vagus nerves, it's recommended to start the day with the deep breathing exercises and to do it time by time, like every 3 or 4 hours during the day, especially if you are experiencing the stress during the day. Another thing to do when you feel like your heartbeat is really fast or you start to breathing faster, you can press on your eyeballs or press on your solar plexus. It activates the vagus nerve mechanically because we have vagus nerve really close to eyeballs and really close to solar plexus. It's the part when you feel the vagus nerves. Also, body massage, activating the vagus nerve. So when you are in the resistant phase of the stress, it is a really good idea to book massage once a week or book facial with the good beauticians or good estheticians once a week, because it will not only help your skin, it will help your body in general, and it helps you control the stress and form this new skin resilience. Also what helps, it's a cold shower or cold washing. So it's another good advice, taking the cold shower in the morning or taking the cold shower after the day of work. Once again, if you experience some fast breathing, stress reaction, it's always good to wash your hands, your face, and especially your neck with the cold water. Also, fun fact, I've been reading some research recently, and actually it works better and faster when you wash right part of your neck with the cold water. So you can just take the towel, use the cold water and put it like a compress on the right part of your neck, and it will help you to calm down almost immediately. And another thing, regular physical activity. I know it sounds boring, but daily physical activity, even if you have only 15 or 20 minutes, it will help your skin to form resilience. And physical activity, it should be the necessary part, essential part of the skin treatment. I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive and a bit paradoxical, but when you're treating acne, daily physical activity will help to treat your acne or rosacea faster and more efficiently. And the same thing for age-related changes. If you want to keep your skin strong and tightened, physical activity is your way. Couple of other things activating the vagus nerve, it's laughing and singing. So sing and laugh as much as you can every time when you find a place for it. Another key element of the stress management and formation of the skin resilience, it is an influence of another hormone, which I love to call the real stress mediator. Yes, we have 3 stress hormones: cortisol, epinephrine or adrenaline, and norepinephrine or noradrenaline. But the 4th hormone, it's even more important. It's called oxytocin. And also we call it love hormone because it's produced by love in our body. And you know what? Love makes us resilient. And love makes our skin looks better. Then why you look so beautiful when you are in love? Because biochemically, you are under the influence of the love hormone, oxytocin. Oxytocin is anti-activator of the stress axis, starting in the hypothalamus. And we have oxytocin receptors everywhere, including our skin cells. And when we have enough of oxytocin in our body, it deactivates stress hormones and it helps us to protect from free radicals, from inflammation, and from all kinds of skin damage. So love helps, but how we can produce and mimic love for our skin? Because we need it. Love is another key to the longevity, and love is another key for the skin health. And we can increase the oxytocin level consciously. So how we can do it? The first thing to do is spend time with people who you like and who you love. So your family, your friends, your loved one, but also to be more social. Attend different kinds of social meetings, play games, take part in any group exercises. Once again, physical activity, it's a good idea to go to some fitness club and to do it together with other people. Also, making eye contact, especially communicating with other people. It's very important. Every time when you make eye contact with people, your body starts to produce more of oxytocin. So making eye contact is good for your skin. Another benefit you find in the massage, it's not only vagus activation, but also the synthesis of oxytocin. And what is really interesting, good news for beautician, if you're listening to me now, when you give a massage, you produce oxytocin as well. Probably you don't activate your vagus nerve, but at least you produce the love hormones. And everyone who receives the massage also produces oxytocin as well. And also all kind of body contacts and balanced diet with food rich of different kind of macro elements and micro elements. They're really good for producing oxytocin. And love and music again. So the strategy of the skin stress management, it is activation of vagus nerve, so massage, facials, physical activity, healthy diet, and it's fight the inflammation and oxidation of all essential skin structures. So we should protect our skin cells membranes, we should control the inflammation, and we should maintain the healthy microbiome. It is very important. Also, another part there is circadian regulation of the skin and maintaining the healthy skin renewal. What can we do for our microbiome? First of all, we should eat microbiome-friendly food. That will be vegetables, fruits, healthy food, and biofermented food like kimchi or sauerkraut, or drinking kombucha or drinking kefir. In the skincare, we are using a lot of prebiotics and probiotics. If you are using Meder skincare, you're safe because we have a lot of prebiotics and probiotics in our skincare, and literally in your skincare routine. They will care of your skin day and night if you are using our skincare. But also there are a lot of different active ingredients which can be very helpful for skin stress management. And amongst them, there are antioxidants, there are different kind of anti-senescent ingredients, and they are ingredients helping to clean the extracellular matrix, and most importantly, to activate the mitochondria, to reactivate the energy synthesis. What we are using for antioxidant skin protection? Niacinamide, resveratrol, green tea, vitamin E, you can use vitamin C as well, and also different plant-derived antioxidants, which you can find in many plants, including blueberry and strawberry, and different citruses, aloe and green tea, like I told previously. For activating mitochondria, we are using more sophisticated ingredients. Niacinamide helps a lot, like other vitamin, but vitamin B3 niacinamide is the most efficient form of activation of our mitochondria. But also we can use coenzyme Q10, we can use different peptides, we can use cyprinone, we can use resveratrol and sirtuin, and specific probiotics and prebiotics. In Meder skincare, our most energy stimulating product, it is Vital Long Oil and circadian night cream. So if you feel like your skin is fatigued, you need these energy activators. And also we need to clean up extracellular matrix to activate the microcirculation in our skin. And we do it once again with niacinamide, caffeine, different kind of peptides, but also with different ingredients helping to maintain the health of our capillary system. Green tea, Centella asiatica, horse chestnut. And here we are with microcurrent therapy, massage and self-massage. And also microcurrent therapy, it is the way to activate mitochondria. We can do a lot of things for our skin. And stress-affected skin needs all help you can provide. So please remember, then stress, it's not the fatum for your skin. Stress can be positive. You can grow from your stress, and your skin can be better even if you live the stressful life. But for have this active longevity, better, stronger skin, you should control your stress. You should know how to manage the stress. So you manage the stress with love, with vagus nerves, with physical activity, healthy food, massage, and skincare. It's form your skin health pyramid from the lifestyle to the skincare. The things which is not recommended to use under the stress until the moment you form this resistance and resilience, there are intense aggressive treatments. So please, before you go for some surgery or laser resurfacing or some kind of other intense treatment, be sure that you form the skin resilience, that you loved your skin enough to help it control the stress. Thank you for joining us today on the Meder Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@midderbeauty.com and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit midderbeauty.com and discover Midder Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.